Good evening, or if you're watching this on video and expecting Roseanne, I'm afraid you pressed 2 instead of 4 again. In the news this week, in central London, a therapy group is set up for Paddy Ashdown's former secretaries to relive their experiences. In Brazil, a sniffer dog trained to attack anyone concealing a truncheon about their person gets tragically confused. And the Royal Navy complains that the government's gone too far in scaling down the Trident programme. With Ian Hislop this week, a comedian who gets fed up of being introduced as the son of the Bishop of Bury St Edmunds, but not half as fed up as the Bishop gets with being introduced as the father of that bloke off the telly who goes milky milky all the time, Hugh Dennis. And on Paul Merton's team, a man who claims that he once read the 9 o'clock news wearing a pair of thigh-length green waders. So I'm sure he won't mind me mentioning that tonight he's wearing a pair of fishnet tights and cami knickers. Michael Buerk. And so we begin the show with the 29th round of this series. Ian and Hugh, a tale of the unexpected for you.
Fergie's new home at night. Oh, that's a young Tory. That's someone creeping about. Don't know who that is.
Good, you've been reading the papers this week, then?
All right, there are the 3 Conservatives,
right,
and they got lost, according to them, in the House of Commons. And they ended up in Tony Blair's office, which is a believable story, obviously. Anyway, they were arrested in there and said, "What are you doing in here?" And they said, "We're lost."
Right.
And after that, they said that it was because they'd had too much to drink and it was high spirits. And it wasn't an attempt to break into Blair's office at all.
Or they knew that the 8 Tory MPs had lost the whip last week and they were looking for it.
It is the discovery of a Conservative researcher and 2 friends in the office of Tony Blair. They claimed they had accidentally taken the wrong turning on leaving the social club bar, which, as this photo shows, is a simple wrong turning to take. The intruders said Blair's office was dominated by a giant smiling picture of the Labour leader. Apparently they began to get scared when his teeth started to follow them around the room. Paul and Michael, decipher this if you can.
KGB News.
KGB News, yeah, you are leaving the Americans... oh, it's going very quick, isn't it, this week? Oh, it's back again. CDs, get your CDs there.
This is Richard Gott.
Richard Gott.
He's the chap who was receiving money from, or holidays from, or perks from the KGB. And at the same time explaining in The Guardian why, you know, Pol Pot, year 0, was just a Cambodian form of care in the community.
It gives a wonderful picture of the KGB, doesn't it? Who shall we recruit? Who can we get to be our top man in London? I know, the Guardian's literary editor. What secrets does the Guardian literary editor know?
What books
None.
are coming out?
Yeah.
Who's on the Booker shortlist early?
Yeah.
Do you remember who his boss was for no extra points?
Peter Preston.
Gordievsky.
Ah, showing off now.
Gordievsky was the one with the world's worst wig, wasn't it? Until Martin Chuzzlewit.
What about Wogan?
Oh, yes, we missed out, Wogan. It is Guardian journalist Richard Gott who has resigned after admitting accepting favours from the KGB. Occasionally, Gott was invited to lunch with KGB controllers. According to one former KGB man, he offered us predictions and analysis. He told us who was of interest in the Labour Party. That's what you call a short lunch. Ian and Hugh, who's this, without naming names?
Oh, it's the lottery.
That's KGB lunch.
Wasn't it? Always a man who's had his head surgically replaced with a camera. Look at
And a man who should, perhaps.
yeah. It's to do with the National Lottery, isn't it? It's the fact that this guy doesn't want to be named, the one who's won. And all we know is he's Asian, and he doesn't want anyone to know who he is or where he lives, which means it must be Salman Rushdie.
The fascinating thing about this bloke is he's now the 1,500th richest person in the United Kingdom, sandwiched neatly, apparently, between Noel Edmonds and the Queen Mother. Really?
It's a hideous image.
Must have been a hell of a party.
But you can't keep it private if you inherit a whole load of money, or if you're the chairman of the gas board and you give yourself a disgraceful increase. You can't say, privacy, please. We want to know.
Yes.
And if you're this bloke and you've won 18 million quid of everyone else's money, which it is, everyone chips in a quid, he has it all. I think you're probably entitled to know who he is, especially if he's very, very unhappy. It's sort of divine providence, isn't it? Those of us who believe in Nemesis are very happy about this. You win the lottery, you're miserable.
I think they went right off when...
Peter Gabriel left.
Yeah.
Jokes are now being done in stereo on this. What would you do with 18 million anyway? I mean,
Shove it up your arse. What's this turning into a chat show? Can't we get on with the questions? But before I ask you that, let's hear a number from Lulu.
Is she here? It is the hounding of the press of this week's National Lottery winner.
Yeah, more pace, come on,
I'm
keep
sorry.
it going.
But first, here's a song from Lulu. He was an Asian factory worker from Blackburn who won £18 million. Countless friends have spoken to journalists praising his character. One said he's a really nice guy and very generous. And can you say it was Dave at Work who said that about him? The BBC's National Lottery Live programme has come in for savage criticism since its viewing figures have plummeted by 6 million. If our viewing figures plummeted by 6 million, we'd be watching you. And finally in this round, Paul and Michael.
Church.
Well spotted.
Father Christmas, grotto, flashing lights.
The pervert.
Pervert? Father Christmas is a pervert?
Well, there was a story about a pervert in a grotto this week.
Yes.
Not him. Not that one.
No, before you go too much further down
Yep.
that path. It isn't actually that story, mate. It's
right.
a different...
But it's the one about the vicar who said that you shouldn't, parents shouldn't tell their children about Father Christmas because he doesn't really exist and it's lying to them, and where Father Christmas does exist and it's not a lie.
You saw him?
Yeah, he's there, look, who's that bloke?
do you know, can you remember his name?
Father
Santa Claus.
Christmas. Dick Haig.
Dick Haig is the right answer.
Oh,
Reverend
that's
Dick
very
Haig, I think.
Reverend
To
Dick
give him
Haig, yes.
Is he a friend of the family?
I don't think so.
Oh, right. The story's been covered by both the broadsheets and tabloids alike. The Independent on Sunday reported the Reverend Dick Haig yesterday warned parents to stop teaching their children to believe in Father Christmas, while the News of the World put a slightly different slant on it. Deck the halls with boughs of holly, Reverend Dick is off his trolley. The Reverend Haig was unrepentant. This month, millions of small children will be encouraged to believe in a fantasy, he said as he prepared his sermon on the feeding of the 5,000.
Controversial, Angus.
Are you suggesting that it happened then, the feeding of the 5,000? He actually took 2 loaves and 5 fishes and broke it up and, you know...
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah. He's quite obviously making cod in breadcrumbs.
Is that what your father preaches? Which religious humbuggery marks an end to this opening round, at which point these scores, as ever, are not worth looking at. So a quick look at them shows that both teams have fulfilled their potential with an ample 4. Round 2 follows after this commercial break for our caption competition. Ian and Hugh need to think about this one. Paul and Michael do likewise with this. And so to the movable feast that is round 2, which this week is entitled Spot the Balls. Every year, the Plain English campaign gives awards for meaningless bureaucratic gibberish. All our panellists have to do is decipher these 2 past winners. Paul and Michael, what is this a definition of, and where is it from? A device or arrangement that may be used to permit a patient to lie down when the need to do so is a consequence of the patient's condition rather than the need for active intervention such as examination, diagnostic, investigation, manipulative treatment, obstetric delivery or transport.
It's a hospital bed.
It must be Virginia Bottomley, mustn't it?
What a definition of Virginia Bottomley.
She is a device or an arrangement that you can use to lie down on, should you so wish.
It's pointing out the difference between a bed and a trolley, I think, isn't it?
And who was it?
Not a bed on a trolley.
Well, a bed on a trolley. Is that become a trolley or does it become a bed? Who can say? If you
It's
put a
one for the
goldfish-
moral maze.
If you put a goldfish in a bat, what does that? Does that become a goldfish and a bap, or a bap on the other side of a goldfish? This is what philosophy is all about as we reach the end of the 20th century. One man's jam jar is another man's council house. We don't know. We argue over definitions the whole time, don't we?
I think we're lucky you did woodwork, really.
The list of drugs that Paul Merton is on tonight is on page 34 of CFAX.
Page 35, page 36. And the recipe's on page 37.
Apparently he once kissed Diane Modal. That was it.
Astonishing.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear, woman who takes drugs and is innocent joke.
More controversial than my feeding of the 5,000 gag. But
Well,
there we are.
5,000 uppers, perhaps?
Yes, maybe.
Uppers. He uses words, you've no idea what it means, do you? You think that's a part
Something to do
of...
with a shoe, isn't it?
Yes, that's what I was going to say. You think it's part of a shoe?
I always wondered why people went around eating uppers.
Yeah.
Where does this definition come from?
The land of Narnia.
NHS, so it's close enough, I suppose.
Oh, yeah, you said NHS before, didn't you?
Yeah, no, you did, actually.
Oh.
It's the definition of a bed, award winner in 1993. Of course, that report is now out of date. Nowadays, when people want to lie down in a hospital, they do so in a corridor, or a long interior alleyway connecting a number of rooms. Ian and Hugh, the winner of the Golden Ball Award of 1994 for you. Just one sentence, but who said it and what does it mean? Ideas which stress the growing importance of international cooperation and new theories of economic sovereignty across a wide range of areas. Macroeconomics, trade, the environment, the growth of post-neoclassical endogenous growth theory and the symbiotic relationships between growth and investment in people and infrastructure. A new understanding of how labour markets really work and the rich and controversial debate over the meaning and importance of competitiveness at the level of individuals, the firm or the nation. And the role of government in fashioning modern industrial policies which focus on maintaining competitiveness.
Was it Arthur Mullard?
Gordon Brown said this before you did, just then. And what it means is essentially doing the same as the government do, except slightly better.
And in a Scottish accent.
And in a Scottish accent.
Well, you're the master of impersonations, aren't you? So,
Do you want my Gordon Brown?
well, if you can just do sort of the way in which Jimmy Somerville talks rather than looks. Yes, it is Shadow Chancellor Gordon Brown. His sentence was reported in full in The Guardian, inadvertently activating 30 Russian agents across the country. Which verbal diarrhea brings us skidding to the end of this round, and the news is that, well, both teams seem to be showing post-neoclassical signs of endogenous growth with 6. So, with nothing in it, and indeed nothing to it, let's cruise on to our next round, which is the odd one out one. For healthy, clean living types, which one's the British athlete? Paul, you're
Oh,
for...
they don't like that stuff, Angus. She's
Controversial.
innocent until proved guilty a number more times.
Paul, your 4 crowned heads are George IV, Prince Charles, Michael Jackson, and Anna Nicole Smith.
Well, she's clearly hiding inside George IV up the top there, isn't she? Is she the woman who married the billionaire, the 90-year-old billionaire? Is that her?
She might be.
We can't reveal his name, obviously. An invasion of his privacy.
Naturally.
Let's assume she is.
And let's assume his name was J. Howard Marshall II, for example.
Yeah,
Right, let's out him now.
Right.
that's the one.
Rich, and he owns that. Or rather, them.
What an enlightened view you have. It's only to do with marriage, isn't it? Because Michael Jackson married somebody with money. George IV married, I don't know, Jar Jar Gabor. By the law of averages, she must have married him at some point in her life.
I think he was her 3rd husband.
Yeah. Well, why's he called George IV, then? See how we get confused yet again, you see?
It's actually that all of them married in secret, except Prince Charles, whose quiet family wedding was watched by an estimated 700 million people. Anna Nicole Smith is the 26-year-old film star who secretly married a frail 89-year-old oil billionaire. She says, there they are. She says theirs is a marriage in every sense of the word. Well, that should speed things along a bit. Michael, your men of violence, allegedly, are Jerry Adams, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Paul Hill, and Jackie Onassis.
Oh, God. Well, Jerry Adams, constitutional politician, of course. Sinn Féin, guest at Stormont and the White House. Paul Hill, wrongly, of course, convicted of an IRA bombing. Jackie Onassis is the only one with an Irish name. Onassis?
Onassis? Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And she's the only one who's turning into a fly. Jerry Adams just checking to make sure. No, I can still see through there.
Yeah. Is it it's a Kennedy thing, isn't it?
Given that it's not your question, yes.
Oh, yes, because
we
they
are
all married
about to answer
Kennedy.
questions, Angus.
Jerry Adams, you see, is the only one that's not involved in the Kennedy family, because Arnold Schwarzenegger married a Kennedy, and Paul Hill was married a Kennedy, and Jackie Onassis was married to one of them. I can't remember which one.
It was a
Ludovic Kennedy,
That's
wasn't it?
the one.
Yes, well, I suppose I'm going to have to give you a point each, given that...
What, for us getting the right answer
Yeah.
and them not? Yeah, that's good.
Oh,
Split the
hello.
points,
Here we
Angus.
go.
Very good.
Yes,
I
well,
hardly think that's fair.
is that you getting angry?
Yeah, that's me being quite tetchy.
Yeah. Yes, well, you said Kennedy, I think, and you came up with the right answer. So it's 1 point apiece. It's that all... and I'm joining the Liberal Party tomorrow. It's that they all married a Kennedy except for Jerry Adams, although Teddy Kennedy recently embraced Jerry Adams on his visit to America. He was criticised for hugging a man who had no political morals and who was responsible for other people's deaths, but Jerry said he just did it without thinking. Hugh, your regal quartet is the Duchess of York, Harper's and Queen, Fergie's sister Jane, and Heathrow Airport car park.
There are retakes in this, aren't there? F***ing bollocks. Yeah.
No, there aren't, actually.
Oh, right.
That will go out.
Oh, no. No, it could be about Americans. Could be about Americans.
Mm.
In the sense that Harper's and Queen is full of stuff for Americans. Heathrow car park is stuffed with Americans. And Fergie is being stuffed by Americans.
That's the bit we'll edit out, probably. You're sort of rightly... So in the right sort of area, oddly enough.
Anyway.
It's an owing money question, or a that man Johnny Bryant messing things up. Because I think Johnny Bryant left his car in the Heathrow car park and said it was on royal business and that Fergie would pay.
Jane is the odd one out.
Why?
I don't know. Who cares?
You just want to point, really,
Yeah.
don't you? No, I'll give 1 point to Ian and Hugh. It's to do with financial disagreements with
Financial
Johnny
disagreements.
Bryant. No, you have to say it before I say
We
it.
didn't have to last time, did we?
No, not last time. I thought we'd established a precedent.
Yeah, he's changing the rules now.
No, I've changed my mind. It is to do with financial disagreements with Johnny Bryan. All of them have refused to believe Johnny Bryan in various money matters, except, of course, for Fergie, who swallowed the lot. Apparently, I just meant she believed him. Apparently, Bryan advised Fergie that she could...
You're doing pantomime this year?
Not anymore, no. Harper's and Queen fell out with Johnny Bryan over financial negotiations for a cover photo featuring Fergie. After the photo was dropped, Bryan rang up and shouted, "She's not some dead common sodding trashy little model." Actually, he didn't in fact say sodding, but because of BBC guidelines, we're unfortunately unable to say f***ing. And finally, in this round, Ian, your topical foursome consists of the 18th century, the 100 Years' War, the Blackpool Tower, and LWT's Night of 100 Stars.
It must be a 100-year question, because Blackpool Tower is 100 years old this year.
Happy birthday.
LWT's Night of 100 Stars felt like it had gone on for 100 years.
The 18th century lasted 100 years, like most centuries.
But
The 100 Years' War, as we all know from our woodwork O-level,
75 years.
didn't last 100 years.
Yeah.
How many years?
It was about 68.
What was?
The 100 Years' War. That was the number of years it was, 68. But it's not that 68 sounds ridiculous. Let's go for the ton.
It was 116 years, actually.
Yeah, it was
Really?
68 and 68.
68 for each side.
Yeah.
That's 138.
Yeah. What was the first number you thought of? and is this your card?
It's the 100 Years' War, because it's not true. There were 100 stars at LWT's Night of 100 Stars. All of them stars. There's the Crankies. There they are. It is 100 years old. The 18th century lasted 100 years. And the 100 Years' War is a sham, a con.
Interestingly, you are really quite wrong on a number of counts. Although you are in the right area. The odd one out is actually Blackpool Tower.
Why?
Because it's 100 years old this year.
Yes.
But all the others claimed to be 100, but aren't.
Yeah, Night of 100 Stars, there was about 120 people there. At
18.
least. There's more than 18 people there.
18 stars.
So that was a
18th
con.
century 100 then? What was wrong with the 18th century?
Well, I'll tell you. The 100 Years' War began...
But they changed the calendar, didn't they, in the 18th century?
Of course they did.
That's right.
Remembered too late, though, Paul.
Remembered it? I mean, never got a tune, didn't ask us. You listened to a load of old twaddle over there, and then you sat there in a rather smug, po-faced way that you've developed over the years. Which, you, for some reason, you think is a substitute for talent. It didn't come across. They changed the calendar in the 18th century, I knew that.
Whenabouts did they change it?
June.
Yeah?
1771.
52. The 18th century failed to last 100 years, as in 1752 the British decided to change to the Gregorian calendar, which involved knocking 11 days out of early September. So bad news for Virgos, good news for grouse. All of which...
There was lots of protests at the time. People marching down the streets, you know, with placards. We demand back our 11 days. They were really annoyed about it at the time.
It still lasted 100 years, though. That's just days.
Yeah. Yes, but what's a year made out of?
Hopes, dreams, emotions, feelings.
Sorry, it's...
Hell!
Concept albums.
This is getting dangerously Californian. I mean, all of which...
Time for Scylla, I think.
Centenary celebrations
nothing's that dangerous.
mean that we bid this round a fond good riddance, and with one round left, the heartening news is that Paul and Michael are literally behind with 8, whilst Ian and Hugh are nothing short of ahead with 10. So, all hail our final missing words round, which this week is proud to feature as our guest publication, from which one or two headlines I can reveal will be taken, the highly acclaimed Brass Band World. Paul and Michael, full potential of what not realised?
Brass trumpet. Flugelhorn.
Cœur d'anglais.
Tenor horn is in fact the instrument we're after. Delors does what to Maggie as he says goodbye?
Fondles.
Nuts.
I'm sorry?
Nutser.
Oh, I see. No, taunts was in fact the verb. Next, Queen offers Fergie what at Castle?
AIDS test.
Christmas. Husband.
No,
Stuffing.
slightly... room is in fact what we're after. Di's squidgy pal laid what?
A free-range egg.
Di's squidgy pal laid died, didn't
Plan.
Bear.
he? Laid off. He got sacked. He was a second-class salesman. He
Laid
got
off
sacked.
is the right answer. Very good. Right, OK, Ian and Hugh, guard your home with what?
John Inman. He's big and tough. You can do it.
Yes.
John Inman? Topical quiz show.
Well, if we can talk about George IV, I'm sure John Inman could look in.
It does actually contain the word man, so...
Does it really?
Yeah.
Jeremy
It's
Paxman.
No, it's inflatable man. It's one of these fake men that you put in the hallway and people think there's somebody there, isn't it? It's like sort of plastic man or something. Or fake man. Not real man.
John Major Man. Blow up PM. Stuff it in the hallway. Nothing happens. For days.
That could become a musical song. Blow up PM, stuff it in the hallway.
Nothing happens for days.
Yeah.
No.
All together now. Sing up. Take your teeth out, have a party.
I think I feel tempted to give you the answer now. It's a man trap, is in fact what we're after. Next, first what conference planned for February?
I love Michael Portillo.
Do you?
It's not an answer, it's a bit of gossip.
Millennium.
First wind tour conference.
It's National Tuba Conference.
Tuba, I said tuba an hour ago.
I said brass band was the first thing I said.
Yes, but your tuba answer was to a different question, wasn't it, Ian?
It's not important.
I'm afraid it is. Next, why has Camilla suddenly got a what on her face?
Prince.
Is it Kipper? Kipper or Smile?
Smile.
A smiling Kipper.
A smiling kipper.
Yeah, they're allowed to enjoy themselves as much as anybody else.
Smile is correct. And finally, Mammoth USA Tour for what?
Brass band.
No.
Yorkshire Brass Band.
Yeah, Grimethorpe.
Grimethorpe Brass
Band.
Band.
Hairy mammoth.
I'm sorry.
Glenn Miller, they've found him. He's a bit wet, but they've dried him out.
A topical show doing Glenn Miller gags, always a good idea.
Doing John Inman gags.
The answer is Wendy Picton, the internationally acclaimed euphonium virtuoso, as you would have known if you were a regular reader of Brass Band World, but you weren't. All of which unedited highlights of the week's news bring us gratefully to the end of tonight's trial by guesswork. And this week's dim failures are Ian and Hugh with 12, while this week's leading lights are Paul and Michael with 13. Before we push off, it's time to tidy up the small matter of our caption competition. Ian and Hugh, I think this was yours.
Phileas Fogg launched tortilla chips with a hint of corpse.
Thank you. Paul and Michael?
The only BMW where the pricks are on the outside.
Watch out, darling, there's a fork in the road.
On which topical note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop and Hugh Dennis, Paul Merton and Michael Buerk. And I leave you with news that the Church of England is rocked by rumours that the Queen may in fact be Jewish. The man who said he wouldn't shave his moustache until there was a Labour government in power begs Tony Blair to get on with it. And the Chancellor of the Exchequer leaves for a drinks party at the Bank of England in spite of an unfortunate mix-up at Moss Bros. Good night.